processing plant. Gene samples are probably in one of the containers.
These things, they're all dominated. Clean them out and keep an eye out for more patrols.
Probable threat detected.
Looks like the last of them. No sign of the morph, though.
Your shipping yard's just beyond the processing plant. Cache with some goodies is towards the rear of the facility.
Kaiser, we close enough for you to dial in the location of those samples from here?
Yes, they're faint, but I'm detecting multiple valid signatures. I have restored power to the containers.
Jackpot! Get down there and collect as many as you can.
Percival, you see any better option?
Not from where I'm standing.
Then we've got our answer.
Access unlocked. We may proceed.
Kaiser, this flora, this is Lazarus plant, isn't it?
Confirmed.
You know, no one even realized it was a living thing until someone got it under a microscope and saw it had cells. Can't be cultivated anywhere but Londinium. Real marvel. All these leeches. What's keeping you things warm? What's that? My God, look at it. A Lazarus in bloom. You know, we might be some of the only... What's happening? Captain, you seen this? Oh, God. The heat leeches are terramorphs.
What? No. It can't be true. Heat leeches are everywhere. They live everywhere. That means terramorphs... Oh my god.
You just saw that, right? You would tell me if I was losing my mind. That heat leech became a terramorph. The pests that have snuck onto every planet are baby terramorphs. Heat leeches hide out in ships, sneak away after landing, and then, with time, they transform. We just found out how terramorphs move between planets. That I don't have an answer. But if they share a genome, like most nymphs and adults do, the microbe should have no problem dealing. The Aciles we'll have to look into. But given what we know about the creatures, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to find that they've got an appetite for both. No, Lazarus plants can't grow anywhere but here, let alone blossom. People have tried. Plus, if what we just witnessed was happening anywhere else, well, it wouldn't just be Londinian lost to these things. What we just saw, it must be some kind of alternate growth method. One that winnows 70 years of maturation into seconds. It's incredible. What are... tough as titanium. They sneak onto planets by hiding in ship engines, build nests on anything that puts out warmth, But I guess what they're actually doing with all that energy they've been siphoning is... which explains how something as big as a terramorph has been spreading between worlds with no one noticing. Until now. Pretty major is right. The Lazarus plant. It's clearly an accelerant for the terramorph, a heat leech transformation process. Make one into the other in an instant. But that means if anyone knew about this, they could trigger a terramorph spawning. You could sneak a leech into a city, or even multiple leeches, into a place like New Atlantis. Good God. The attack on New Atlantis, does this... Could someone have set that up? Me neither. You'd have to know this all exists, first and foremost.
Well, we're never gonna know if you don't catch that thing. Get after it.
Discuss.
We may proceed.
Go!
I have an important personal decision to make. Phew, thank you. So, where to start? Before I was with the Navigator Corps, I was career military, part of the United Colonies Navy. When the Colony War broke out, I was posted as the chief navigator on a warship, the Dauntless. Well, there was a particularly bloody battle. We were fighting over a world in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Worst fighting I'd ever seen. We lost 12 ships that day. 12. Including my own. No. This is important. I need to tell you this. The ship was barely intact. The captain and first mate died the previous day, which put me in command. A shrewd captain would have called for the crew to abandon ship. The Dauntless was a tough little ship. No shields and the hull was breached, but it still had power. And weapons. That's why I remained in the battle. Huge mistake. Well, I didn't have the luxury of indecision. I had to act. We fought for hours, but the damage was fatal. I gave the order to abandon ship and the crew piled into the escape shuttle. As the shuttle launched, I could see it was damaged. I heard screams before the radio cut. The last thing I saw, they were spiraling helplessly towards the planet's surface. There was nothing I could do. You're sorry. If I hadn't been so stubborn, so eager to prove that I could handle command, my crew would have had more time to escape. Try telling that to their loved ones. When the dust settled, the United Colonies gave me a medal. Can you believe that? A damn medal. I never even had a chance to find the shuttle wreckage and give my... After I checked every section, if I hadn't, I would have died. Bad luck. You once told me, no matter how hard you fight, don't you get it? That's why I'm worried. After everything you've heard, no one's ever cared about me this... You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about us, about our relationship, how we've clearly become close. I practiced what I was going to say when the moment was right, and now that it's here, my mind's gone blank. Look, you deserve the best. Someone who can give themselves to you entirely. But right now, I have too much baggage. Too much on my mind. I hope you'll forgive me for pushing you away.
Engaging.
plant this rare, this fragile, just shows up here, New Atlantis, and Tau Ceti. The transformations on those worlds, they must have been triggered by human hands. Captain, do you understand what it... Exactly. Someone saw a bioweapon no one would recognize as one. Sort of thing that'll keep you up at night. And makes some sense. Tau Ceti was likely their first test. Someplace remote where no one would question a few seconds. Ensure the big show, the attack, and the timing of that one. It couldn't have been just luck that it happened right when we were asking the cabinet to do something about the Terramorphs. These attacks, I think someone planned them to set all this in motion. I can't. At least, I didn't think. They certainly were. But having this answer, well, it raises a couple big questions. Who could pull something like this off? And why?
Let's save the discussion for when you all aren't standing in the universes. If we're gonna do anything to prevent more Terramorph attacks...
Roger that. Kaiser, get us into the spaceport?
The entrance is this way. I am unable to provide sufficient power to the lock mechanism.
Anyone got ideas where we could get some extra juice?
Local power looks like it was controlled in the security office. Upper floor.
Captain and I can scout it out. Kaiser, see if you can't find another way to get it open.
Roger that. I have restored power to the office entrance. You may proceed.
There's the control panel. Still looks operable. Of all the things to survive.
Reactivated. Error. Control system reboot required.
And we do that... Ah, Captain. I think I see it.
Reboot engaged. Running diagnostic. Diagnostic complete. Multiple systems unavailable. Warning. Priority safety concern detected. Exterior hatch power restored.
Back in business.
Warning. Emergency recorder message detected. Transcription process engaged. Playback initiated.
Admiral Sanon, we need to make the evacuation request.
That's my father he's addressing. He was here? Didn't think he'd have the guts to look those soldiers in the eye before blowing this place to pieces.
Admiral!
It just transformed. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe. Colonel, the troops that closed off the sewers after my evaluation, they're all in this facility.
Other than our casualties, yes, sir.
Good. Get them into defensive positions around the spaceport. No one leaves. They'll send ships as soon as possible.
Thank God. None of us wanted to go down swarmed by those things.
That won't be your fate, Colonel. You have my word.
Transcription complete. Physical copy available.
An invisible weapon. He knew. He knew about the Lazarus plant. Grab that recording. We should talk. destroyed this place. He saw the potential of the plant as a weapon. He killed those people. Yes. Exactly what we all thought he was. But I guess that's just another part. Only he didn't succeed. Now's not the time to joke like that, all right? No. That's insane. He died. They executed him. They faked his death? My entire unit, they threw us all to the wolves, but kept him? And now he's what? An advisor? Commanding the fleet in secret? What was so important that they had to keep him alive? Well, they certainly picked an expert, didn't they? He's alive. Victus is still alive. I don't care if they're using him to solve world hunger. The man is a criminal. How could the UC do something so foolish? I guess it makes sense, though, doesn't it? The UC of that era only created me because they were afraid of a world without Victus in command. Why would they get rid of him? As long as I live, I'll never understand the loyalty that old bastard elicited. But wait, if my father's alive and knew about the Lazarus plant, what do you think the chances are he was involved in the attacks? And even if he wasn't directly involved, I guarantee he knows something. So you're telling us that the attack on New Atlantis was Victus's responsibility, just like the loss of Londinium? That's insane. But I guess we're not getting any more answers right now. Come on, let's go get that last sample. Kaiser, try it now.
Successful.
Guys, your sample, it moved. I'd be real careful out there if I were you.
That doesn't sound good. Eyes peeled.
careful while we can.
Final sample secure.
All wrapped up. Time to get the hell out of here. Percival, you should unplug and find somewhere we can talk. Privately.
On it. See you soon. Look at all of you. Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there. But can't be positive until we run some tests. But knowing that the terminal arguably makes things more feasible, now that we...
Agreed. Plus, I don't think you're gonna have to push real hard to get folks on board with cleaning up one of the galaxy's greatest pests if this is what they're capable of.
But none of that's getting done without the samples. This place... No, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there.
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond.
It's a bit more complicated than that.
I'm sorry, what? He's pulling my leg, right? Adrian?
No, I don't believe he is.
So that means we have a suspect.
I believe that's exactly what that means. Look, Captain. Percival and I, we need to get these samples back to the lab. But Ve Victus is the only... Since you're the only one who knows where he is, can... Captain, I truly don't. He's already shown he's taken an interest. So do you think you... Good. We'll all meet back at mast, outside the cabinet chambers. Best of luck, Captain.
Let's pop into Outland while we're here, and see if Joe has anything useful to add to our arsenal.
Authorized personnel only. Fred has to stay here.
Well, when I heard you and Hadrian were headed for... Did you find what you were... I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Good news, then. So, what exactly... Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might... Perhaps I can... You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terramorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing. Oh, my revenge was far from petty, Captain. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport, fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's terramorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential. Simple to say now, but with the outbreak raging from a barely understood source, the moment demanded quick action. So I did what was required. I removed the dangerous variable from an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You. Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very life? I don't know, Captain. Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. A new face would be needed, of course, but it wasn't an impossibility. Though now, I'm not so sure. It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my advantage. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient. Dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. All without the UC realizing whom you were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective. There are no heroes without a villain. And we all benefited. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right. You're being honored only as I arranged. And let's not forget eliminating the terramorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. I'm simply requesting one more light. I've already sent along the evidence of Orleza's role in the attacks to the cabin. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the... After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. That is a pity, Captain. But just think about the opportunity I've provided here.
Authorized personnel only. Your friend has to stay here.
Perfect timing. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Aciles are both...
Means either plan should work for clearing those crypts.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things. I already sent along info to the cap. So what about your end? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant? I knew it. The second I heard that recording, I knew. Why? Did he say why he did it? Killed all those people because of a chip on his shoulder and an obsession with his own status. That sounds like Ve Victus. Well, once we inform the cabinet, they can ensure he won't be able to do anything like this ever again. My hope would be that whatever connections he's got, make sure his future schemes and but honestly, I'm not sure. He's in a unique position. And... Exactly. So I guess that gives us our final answer. Nothing left to do but head in and see what the cabinet thinks of it all. Unless there was more to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through.
Microbe is gonna make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math. And a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in, see if they have a preference. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Aciles seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch them. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti.
Aciles aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the terramorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Aciles, we're at least dealing with known risks. It's hard to know. Unlike my father, the cabinet aren't butchers. But if you're really that concerned, you could request... Then here we go.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true? This report comes from a particularly confident... Now, is it true? What?
My God.
An attack? Using terramorphs? How is that possible?
You will all receive a full briefing once we're done here. So then, is what the second report claims correct? Did Reginald Orlays commit these attacks, Captain?
Orlays? It's true, ma'am. I heard the recording myself. My father figured out how to use terramorphs as weapons.
He did what?
That's impossible. He doesn't have the kind of access to...
Clearly, he made his own access, Chief Sarkin. Madam President, I have been saying for years that not dealing with that man was gonna end in tragedy.
Enough! I hope everyone here understands that what has just been shared is a state secret of the highest order. This information does not leave this room. Now, that's quite the accusation you're leveling, considering Francois Sinon has not left containment for the better part of 2 decades. You have evidence to back this up? Silence gets us nowhere closer to our answers. The cabinet requires a response. I do not appreciate information being withheld. I do not appreciate information being withheld. Silence gets us nowhere closer to our answers. The cabinet requires a response.
It just transformed. A terramorph out of thin air. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe.
Heavens help us. Is that actually him?
I'd know that voice anywhere. That's Francois.
He knew they could do this, and said nothing.
He's a sociopath. Plain and simple, ma'am.
Officer, please collect that recording.
Yes, ma'am. Begging your pardon, Captain.
We'll, of course, be launching a full investigation into how this could have happened. Though I have little doubt the Admiral will be quick to share all he knows on the subject once confronted with that recording. Chief Yassine, can you send one of your interrogators to have a little chat with the Admiral?
I'll issue the order immediately.
Good. Combined with everything else you all have uncovered. Well, I don't think the United Colonies can thank you enough. We failed the people of the colonies by not dealing with Vavictus sooner. I intend to rectify that mistake immediately. I'm inclined to agree, Captain. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the Cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the Cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our true presence on Londinian is increased. We're already discussing the elimination of one species, Captain. Explain to me why you wish to eliminate another. I'm not sure I like what you're suggesting. The UC's only plan is to protect lives. Though, I won't discount that perhaps your proposal could get us closer to that goal. So, explain to me your thinking in destroying the plant.
Yes, absolutely. The UC has to be as transparent as possible from now on. Otherwise, we could be risking a second colony war.
That is an idea with some merit to it. Decrease the likelihood of anything like this occurring again, and further relations between our two factions.
Two birds with a single stone. Very well. We'll include the collective in the removal process. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terramorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps? The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to...
Glad to see someone's not afraid of a little applied genetics. The science division is in full agreement.
I doubt there's another body in the galaxy that could pull it off.
Absolutely correct. There are no better hands in the galaxy for this project than ours.
Order, please. And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the Captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, today we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction, and I'm told the penthouse is... You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sinan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts, spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain, the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the... Speak to your commander. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Well, well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my... No need to thank me. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and the credits should be in your... But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Aphelion Realty office. They should be able to... Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much... But, with all that squared, there are your standard Vanguard missions, or you could help the TMD in cleaning... Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples. Any of those missions call to you? Sure. He'll have all the specifics.
I wonder if I'll miss you when I leave. No. I've heard some xenopredators. We'll be lucky if we pull anything organic off this rock.
This is a dangerous assignment, but you all are here because you can handle it. So any questions, concerns, anything at all giving you pause, you come see Dr. Walker or I. Little problems left unchecked become big problems. And we fix big problems here, not make them. Now let's get to work. Welcome everyone to the TMD.
Okay. Hello.
Captain, looks like we missed each other back at Matt. I could have never guessed, but now, knowing that my father well, I've just spent a lot of my life in... Just glad it was me. You know, I was thinking while we were... But... Because confronting him, what would I have gained from that? From letting him remind me I can never truly be rid of him? Nothing. Now, all I'd be doing is acknowledging that he still has some sway over my life. And while I can't do anything about his role in my past, I'm not about to let him control my future. And thanks to what we've done together, that future is brighter than it has been in a long time. Words can't do justice to how grateful I am for that. Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded. It's been an honor, Captain. Harry.
Why, hello, fellow Class 1 citizen. That's never gonna get old.
Now, was there... Who knows? Probably need to cut me down and count the rings to... I joined UC DRIP, Defense Research and Initiative Program, right after graduation. Worked on all kinds of projects. Way I saw it, nature had already figured out plenty more. Initially, it was a lot of material sciences, using carapace to make tougher ship hulls, bio... But when the war started looming, top brass in the UC military, there was a team before us, set up in some secret. But when a lab accident took them down... Oh yeah, known each other since it... You can imagine my shock when I walked into this place for the first time and found some plucky 19-year-old was gonna be my partner. We were supposed to be co-heads initially, but you've dealt with Hadrian. You can imagine about how long that lasted. But the Major knew her stuff. Saw potential in all her staff and knew how to get the best out of them. Kind of bull only an uncynical woman like Hadrian could pull off. For all the damage that group did, we were, well, we were real tight-knit. Having that back, it's nice. Why? What we did back then, we were trying to win a war. We used... Never said I didn't. Whole point was to create weapons so scary we thought, well, we hoped it would be comparatively merciful. But at least now, with the TMD, some of that work... You heard right. These terramorph attacks, they caught the UC. So, they want us patrolling the front lines of xenological life. Which means, we need someone to track down said aliens, and harvest samples from them. And that, we're trying to build a comprehensive picture here, which requires specific... But since dealing with unfriendly creatures falls square in your wheel... This isn't the same sort of harvesting you and Hadrian were doing. If you can get close enough to these creatures to harvest from them, I'd check with Lieutenant Walter before heading out. Though, if heavens forbid, there's no viable option other than putting the things down. Pretty much every beast, behemoth, critter, and... But we can send in-house researchers after the little guys. Your job... Glad to hear it. There is just one additional wrinkle. UC spec this as a one... So, if you're interested, they've agreed to let you take Hadrian with you. You'll have to convince her, of course. We could use Hadrian here, absolutely. Not a lot of other people can go up against apex predators and come home. You and Hadrian are the right... I expect she wouldn't mind too badly being out there herself. Now, let's get you the details of your first quarry. Here you go. Head there, find your specimens, and bring those samples back here. I'll have a tech waiting outside to collect them from you. And remember, proximity should be all you need to get your samples. Get close.
Hey. Okay, I'm listening. What's going on? Backup? Come with you? You can't be serious. I mean, I do too. Yeah, maybe. I saw myself at the TMD. If you really need backup out there. Yeah. Thank you for the offer. Really. It was unexpected. I'll head out soon. I just need to talk to Percival before I go. See you, Captain.
Captain on deck.
Let's put this bird on the ground. When you have a moment, I'd like to speak to you.
Sorry to pull you aside like this, but I wanted to take a moment to congratulate you. Taking those steps to eradicate the Terramorph threat is essential to the safety of every living thing in the settled systems. You should be proud. Indeed. Leaving that problem unchecked could have made the situation go from bad to worse. Well, I'm relieved that the United Colonies agreed to use their genetically engineered microbe to exterminate the Terramorphs. Apparently, their decision was based on your recommendation. That was a smart choice you've made. A solid scientific decision. Against it. Not I follow the science. If Chief Engineer Kulkarni believes that the microbe will be... Unfortunately, there's no use dwelling on the past. If it helps, I truly believe that your decision, coupled... Oh, well, if there's anything else you ever...
samples then. I'll get these logged ASAP. If you're interested in collecting more, you can speak to Dr. Walker. Oh, and your pay? Here you are. Thank you, Captain.
Words of the wise.
Take a look around. Everyone needs supplies. Take a gander.
You've got something for me? If you have any gear... Feel free to drop some... Bye-bye.
Hey there.
smart.
Let's be certain to stock up on some extra ammunition before we explore the wilderness around
how
the
have you
city.
Well, whatever gets you through the day. Things here have been... Well, we'll probably never be friends, but at least we're... Yeah, we're much better. In fact, speaking of Davis, in analyzing the recent data, I've isolated readings suggest... I don't have any direct evidence. I'm worried that everything I've inadvertently put him through is kinda... I don't know. I have recognized that Davis has an emotional reaction to my presence. We're on speak. I'm better with statistics and circuits than I am with people. If nothing else, it would eat.
I can't believe Bailey did such a bonehead move.
Oh, brother. Why is it?
All broken up about it, I'm sure. So what can I do for you? I don't know whether I should be reassured that someone cares. That woman, I swear. Even though we've smoothed over most of the... Maybe I do. When we were out there and we found that robot, still can't believe one of my own people. But the more I thought about it, that whole episode does... Yeah, that's what I'm afraid. If there's a bigger Ashta out there, something meaner, I tell you what, if you and Kiona are worried, why don't you just come with me then? I'll give you a chance to gear up if you need it. All right. You know, Keone showed me her data. She's a clever kid. She's got a lot of things figured out. I think we can make some real improvements in the future. She had a couple sets of data that she thought were erroneous or something. Seems to me that might not be. Bigger, faster, Ashta sounds like it matches up with the tracks I've seen. But, I tell you, I'm hoping she's right. It's just a glitch. And, no need to tell her I said that. Wouldn't want it going to her head. Alright, here we are. Let's head this way. I remember a story from the first time I was here. Every so often, we get independent types who think that they can succeed where everyone else has failed. Some of them stride off into the wilderness, certain that they're going to
Hope you've calibrated that thing.
botany stuff, whatever. Warning, just don't get through to them. Most of them don't come back. But this one time, miner from some corporation or other, he drags himself back into the city bloody and half dead. Claimed he seen an Ashta big as a house out there. The older guys all said he was delirious. Me, well, I wouldn't do with anything, just listen to him. Now, though, I'm wondering if maybe it wasn't just blood loss and a heat stroke. Maybe he really did see something. Maybe I should have come out here a long time ago. Shit, that's gotta be it! No matter what happens, you make it back to the city and tell them about this. You hear me? I'm not gonna lie to you. If you hadn't been with me, no...
There's no way we could allow that.
We got out alive this one time. That's good. Now that we know these things are out here, we need to track them and keep them out of... So, I'm gonna swallow my pride a bit here and ask you to go tell... Oh, don't worry about me. Thanks again for saving my ass.
So, I was right. You know, I was really hitting a point where I was starting to think maybe this was all. Davis was so certain they had everything under control. Yeah, you're right. I need to get to work on this immediately. I thought it was funny. Now that I'm giving it to you, I'm hoping...
Jemison. But this ship is starting
Security.
to feel like
Prepare to be
home.
scanned for contraband. Scan complete. You are cleared to land in New Atlantis.
All right, let's cycle that airlock and get aboard.
We got a rook on deck. Good to see Constellation getting some fresh blood. Former Crimson Fleet. An old Jacoboons would be the term for it, back in my day. Left that life behind me. Even before I signed up with Constellation, I was retired.
Glad you two finally have a chance to meet.
Wish I could have been down at the lodge to see the artifacts come together. But... that one's all on me. The Eye is the nickname for the star station. Always preferred working alone, even around people I like. But we're all... now, this station, the Eye, rigged up for deep space scans. Barrett and Sarah teased out the signs of where our artifacts could be hid. But the data takes a slow ride along the Sea of Light. Years or decades between us and the fringes of space without a grav drive. No matter how good the scan, it's...
Ultimately, we're not looking at a planet. We're looking at the radiation coming off a planet.
Lot of interstellar bodies in the way, too. All that noise makes squaring the circle harder. Oh. You won't be the only constellation out there. Mateo went out recently, but Andreja, it's been a while. Another rook in Constellation who's making a name for herself. Nice to be.
Yes, indeed. Stop worrying so much, Vladimir.
She should be at one of the 2 sites I've marked on your star map. Can take... Anyway, hopefully you'll be happy hunting. Usually it doesn't. I'm overdrawn from Lady Luck 3. It's a long tale to tip your ear on. But if you... thought I was going to see life's eclipse from there, but... Constellations, if you do go there...
There's something I need to talk to you about. Nice, clean set there.
Ever since we talked about the Battle of Cassiopeia, I can't get what happened out of my mind. Was it that obvious? I thought I could handle these memories, but until I returned again. The last time I saw my crew, I need to find the wreck. Maybe. But I'm willing to take the chance. One problem, though. Pinpointing the crew's shuttle wreckage is going to be like trying to find a grain of salt in a sandbox. I think we need to start. Shortly after I evacuated, the UC listed it as lost. The Dauntless took heavy fire to the... We had 3 shuttles. One was destroyed. Was there to tell? Still... Oh, I'll never forget my finger hovering over that launch. It turned out that my shuttle had just enough power to allow... I wouldn't call what I did a soft landing. My shuttle should have the telemetry tracking data for the other shuttle aboard. That's if scavengers have... It has a breathable atmosphere, indigenous fauna, and maybe a few abandoned mining. Hold on. I don't know the... For that, we are going to have to head to Mast and see if we can get the... Your instincts are... Logan and I butted heads more than once during my time with the Navigator Corps. Look, I hope this isn't asking too much. That's why I'm desperate for your help. Truth is, I'm scared. When I set foot on Cassiopeia, I don't know if I'll be able to handle what I find. If I begin to fall apart... Oh yeah? Well, you haven't seen me behind closed doors. Joking aside, you've always been there when I've needed your help. Why you continue to support me, I'll never understand. I don't know what to say. I've been so busy searching the stars for answers. I've overlooked what's been in front of me all this time. True love. Something I've seriously considered sharing with you for a long time. Just not ready. Not yet. You're right. I have. Hey, anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. I know you have a lot to do. I really appreciate your offer to visit Cassiopeia. Hopefully, it'll bring me the closure that I've needed for far too long.